Okay, we'll open up the October 15th Sewer Commissioners meeting. Elaine, aye.
Bill Watson, I.
Okay, let's start with meeting minutes. I might as well wait till,
I think I just saw
Brian.
a truck come in, so.
oh, okay.
You wanna do the minutes? You can do them, you want?
Yeah, if you're good with them.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't make a difference. On the agenda, it says the 17th. I'm okay with July 16th of 24 and August 27th of 24.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We can probably do the abatement. Any thoughts on that?
Do we finally get back what he was requesting? As far as,
So on the quarters before, his bill was for the sewer, $368.60. And that was in May of 2023. Then August of 2023, $316.60. Then we go to November of 23, and it's $462.20. And then the two consecutive where it's gone up on two different bills.
so this is over a 6-month period.
Looks like 3 quarters.
Yeah.
The 11/1/2023.
Yeah.
The 1/31/2024. And then 4/30. And we got, he's not, let's see here. Water control mechanism, the bathroom toilet was broken and running. He's looking for 1 and 2, the 1,034.20, looks like. And 992.60, I don't know where that's coming
I
from.
mean, I think we need to, the $992.60.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
that his handwriting?
No, that's not-
Okay,
that was the quarter before.
I'm looking at the application.
Yeah.
Okay. So you filled this out or did he?
Yeah, I filled it out.
Okay, so we have no correspondence
Yeah,
from him?
he wrote a letter,
Okay,
and that was in like the last packet. I
okay,
just put this stuff with this one.
so what? Go ahead, explain.
So he was saying that this is a rental property. He didn't know that this was continuously running. But I mean, there were 3 separate bills. You can see it. It's going from 686 to 992 to the 1,034.20.
Right. So it's really come a, yeah, 3 quarters.
Normally, I mean, we give 1 quarter free,
The,
so which quarter would you like to give?
well,
It kept on going up and they never noticed it. So
I'd say the 1,034.20, adjust that to, the other,
Around the same, but between 331 and 400.
yeah, the 316.60, and then we had 368.60. Add the 2 together, divide for the average. And then,
yeah, that's fine.
okay,
I've done before. You give them relief on the largest month.
right. So you want to make that,
Or the largest quarter, I should say.
yeah,
So I'll make that as a motion.
okay, and I'll second that. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So you'll communicate that to him?
Yep, I'll write a letter.
Okay.
In the file.
Okay. So that takes care of that. The warrant, as far as any articles, I'm not aware that, do you know if Brian was moving forward with?
As far as I know, no,
Okay, that's what I thought as well.
but I'll let him speak on that in case anything changed, because I was
Yeah,
half out of here Friday and half in here today, so.
okay. Cushman Farms, anything more on that? I know you've been out.
Yeah, so Cushman Farms, since our last meeting, I did send them a letter. Um, And I do have a copy for each of you. It basically says the Kingston wastewater treatment facility has available capacity for new development with the plant upgrade recently completed. Sewer Commission would encourage discussions regarding the ability and options for tying into our town sewer system. And then I also added the closest locations to connect to the force main on Marion Drive or a small pump station on Hilltop Ave.
Great,
So, just so they've been notified, I'll give you each a copy.
very good.
And that was attached to their documentation that they were looking for comment. I gave that to the building department.
Okay,
Perfect, thanks.
We'll see where it goes.
yeah,
And I'll give a copy of that to them tomorrow night at the ZBA, because they're gonna be
oh, talking about,
talking. to you.
okay, that'll be good. 70 Summer Street? Is there anything more with that?
Yep. Our discussions with 70 Summer Street, if you recall, was about them putting in a private well
Yep,
to augment their water for domestic use. So I sent them a letter. Basically, the Kingston wastewater department will require a separate water meter for any water other than the town water used on the property to be able to determine the usage for billing on sewer usage. Sewer Commission is requiring that the owner coordinate with the commission in determining the acceptable model of meter and a way for the town to access and read the meter in person or remotely for purposes of billing. If a meter is not provided and access and availability to read the meter is not granted, the commission will charge rates at the full Title V design quantity for the property.
oh, good,
So,
words,
all's in their court, so.
thank you.
They've been put on notice and, you know, everything I've ever dealt with them, they've been really cordial.
Yeah.
What happens if they find it's
On things,
cheaper to have us charge it full rate than it is to put a meter in?
You can file this in there.
We put the car wash in town.
Yeah, yeah,
They've been given a copy already, but if you want to put it in the folder with. Thanks, so that covers 70 Summer Street.
okay, you still on update?
All right, final closeout list for the upgrade. I've been working with CDM. They just sent me a document yesterday, which I was out of town, so I didn't get a chance to fully go through it, but I did give it a brief look. There's just a couple minor items left. One of them is a street sign for a location on Marion Drive.
Oh, for that, where the pump station is?
Yeah, I forget the street name now.
Royson?
Royson, thank you. So that's one of the items remaining. There's a couple things up on the roof that they've been debating on who takes responsibility. We'll probably get a credit for that.
Okay,
And that's something we can take care of in-house ourselves. So we're going through that with CDM. I'm also updating our pump list so we can send it to the DEP. I just got all that information from the vendors recently
oh,
for pricing. So by the end of the week, I should have that out to CDM. Some other things I've been dealing with is our insurance for all the different vehicles. There's a couple on there that were requested to be taken off a year ago, and they are still on the list. So I'm pursuing to see where maybe we can get a credit or something for that, or to see if it was actually billed or not.
but were the plates taken off the vehicle? Or transferred to another vehicle?
So,
That's my insurance mind.
yeah. The Escape was still in use,
Yeah,
but we took it off as about a year ago to go to auction. So it's still an asset, but it was requested to be taken off. So
Okay.
I'm not sure how that
Okay.
all feeds out. I would imagine if we still own it as an asset, you may have to insure it.
yeah, I would think so.
But there's not much value to each of the pieces of equipment we're looking to get rid of. It's a 2006 liftgate truck that's been not in circulation for quite a few years. So I'm following up on that.
Okay.
I'll get some information on it. Luke and Jordan have both been accepting their new positions.
Very
So
good.
they're out of classification position. So the next selectmen's meeting, they're just gonna vote on accepting them into those positions. So that's moving along. And today we had a department, well, not all department heads, but some of the departments involved with the mall, the new owners.
Mhm.
I guess they purchased the mall a little over a year ago.
Yes,
And most recently purchased the Macy's side of it.
Yeah.
So now they own the mall itself and grounds with the exception of Target and the apartments. So they're just trying to get a sense from the town of what, comments they might have and concerns they might have as they look at developing this. And they don't have any immediate information on what their plans are.
Mhm.
But I told them as a commission, I would just bring it up at our commission meeting that we look at what they currently have for ERUs and what might be potential if they want to purchase more.
And they actually have purchased more. The mall itself had purchased enough for what they had, but then they are, at the time, they also purchased additional capacity.
Okay,
So there's letters in the files that say how much capacity the mall had, and then how much capacity Macy's had.
okay,
So you obviously
then
put the
add the
two
two,
together,
right.
and that would be,
okay.
And Target has its own
yes,
contract with us. And they have,
yes, Target and the apartments.
And then as far as available capacity, if they wanted to purchase more,
I don't see why not.
okay.
I was wondering what their whole plan was, whether they're gonna put more housing up there, mixed use.
Yeah,
But we have the flow for them to do that. It's already on site. It's up to the water department to give them some more water, but other than that.
yeah.
So just to bring you up to speed today, Brian, we met with, through a Zoom meeting, a couple of department heads and the new owners of the mall. And they're just looking for feedback from the town as department by department, how it might tie into what their future developments are. So I told them we'd kind of look at what they currently have for ERUs and what would be available if they intended to buy any additional ERUs. So they're looking for feedback, in the next couple of months. So
Those are important questions. The other is, do they actually get? When I was dealing with this back when I recommended they come to you guys.
Yeah.
They wanted to upgrade their treatment plant. And I said, well, you guys, what DEP told at the time, and I know this has actually happened, that they could only give capacity to, the sewer commission, kind of, things could only get capacity after they had maxed out their treatment plant. And in other words, they had to keep running the plant. It's this stupid.
Yeah,
So I think that they changed it to tune, but that's what they were being told. So that they would, let's say they needed 100,000 gallons, the plant was 60,000 gallons, they can only get 40 capacity for the treatment plant in Kingston.
really?
That's what they would, but I don't think that ever happened, so just,
No,
I put that out because I don't know the answer, and so when you're looking at the numbers, make sure that they're not still running the plant.
or they decommission that.
Okay.
and that lot's already been sold.
Okay, as long as that happens.
Yeah, and
And
as far as the mall itself, they bought capacity for current use, but also bought additional capacity. And Macy's had their own capacity, so between the two, there'll be how much is currently allocated. And
Knowing
being
how
paid
all the
for.
malls are- all the-
Yeah.
Apartments in little villages with medical facilities located there for people like me. We're gonna,
Downside someday.
some nights gonna slow down.
And I was just gonna, when you're finished, I'll,
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers all my stuff. Yeah, and Brian can bring us, yeah, Brian will bring us up to speed on some of my stuff, might tie back to Brian as far as updating on the leaching fields. But I'll let you, when we get to that.
Well,
yeah, that's
Is-
fine. Oh, yeah, that's
All
fine.
right,
Is there anything mall related?
Just money,
Other-
but that, we can go with the upgrades and stuff. That's fine.
And so there was a back and forth last week with DEP wanting to have information on the wells. We wanted to move the wells because they're hard to locate in the pits that they ended up being in. Make a long story short, talking with CDM, they made them go where they're supposed to go.
Good.
So we got rid of DEP. And they're all done. And I went up there Monday and checked yesterday, checked. They were in the woods putting in the last two wells.
Oh, great.
So as soon as that's done, I mentioned that I talked to you about getting access. They are developing them.
Okay.
The guy who's the resident on hire. I forget his
Okay.
name. Russ,
Okay.
no, what's his name? Silver. He's the same guy as this old house. What's Silver?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
He's the same Russ, it's not Russ Silver, but it's like. Anyways,
Yeah.
You know
It's
the
not
name,
coming
don't
to me yet, but I know who you're talking about.
Roger.
Rogers, yeah, Rogers.
Roger, so,
He was verifying they were developed. He said they were developed so that they're ready to test. And they're gonna come back to the ones that they didn't have, so that makes our folks went up there, and, they can purge them and start sampling. As soon as they're done, they're probably done today,
Okay. Well, once I get word that they're done, we'll get up there as soon as possible.
because then we can start. I think, they're gonna be hydro seeding this Friday. There'll be, I was up there, everything, the piles are so, all the re-leveling's done, they're, we're ready to go. So just getting those, kind of the critical path
Yeah.
really is the sampling, so we have a baseline. and
Yep.
From that day on, we can go. I'll check with Christine again, but that's.
As far as the heavy trucks coming in and out, is that pretty much at an end?
It's done. The only thing they're doing now, well, nothing was happening. The only thing that they have now to do is the finalizing the spread alone, because everything is upgraded and like, as I recall yesterday, only about half of the last of the 6 leaching fields doesn't have soil in it. So we have all done. They were putting in the base for the final road up to the tee box, and they're just making more loam and they're spreading the sticks out. So I'm gonna go up there tomorrow, the next day.
Okay, perfect. Let's see if I get a chance by the end of the week to swing up again.
So we're done. More or less done.
Oh, yeah,
And, this is something you do. We did formalize when you were gone. I said, I sent you an email, but I knew you were away,
fuck man off.
that feathering the manholes, 15,000, I think it was.
yeah,
Yeah,
That should be a done deal. That's already to go. That's the last change order,
wow,
yeah,
and we have no
printed that out.
overages.
That's a printout for that.
Okay. Look at this, not one overage.
excellent.
Yeah, that was just a printout for
I mean, I think that's an over, yeah, that's 15,700. Now, this isn't an overage. This is additional for something that had nothing to do with it, I mean, in terms of, what was bid and what was actually done, right there.
So the wells, I had a bunch of things on my list to ask you about, because in my absence with the leaching fields going on, you've been spearheading that anyway.
Yep.
The wells, the paving. Was there any reference to, as far as when they feel like they'd be able to get to those? Do you have any timeframes?
My guess right now is as soon as they're wrapped up with what they're doing, it can be any day. It's really independent, but when they decide to do the repatching the cut,
Yeah.
it'll all do it once. The
Okay.
whole thing was done at once. I would imagine, I would talk to Christina, but I imagine it's next week.
Okay. Because, just as a concern, the list that went out from the highway department, as far as getting those things squared away, I think they were hoping for an 11/1 finish time. So I can always.
Yeah. How many manhole covers is this?
So it
18?
didn't specifically say on that quote, but I think we said somewhere in the range of 18.
Yeah, it was about 18.
Oh, okay, that's a good amount.
And
Yeah, I thought it was a great price.
Yeah.
we all have different numbers, because there's a couple that, I think they have a couple, a sewer manhole and a drain manhole. There's a couple, I can't really tell,
Yeah,
but like you were saying, there's 2 catch basins, and there's a manhole here. This should be a drain manhole, and there's a sewer on it.
You would,
So where's the drain hole then?
yeah,
And then maybe one of those buried under the ground somewhere, but.
yeah, I would think those are probably buried. I think all those raised ones that say sewer on them are specifically sewer manholes.
Yeah.
That's good. We're covering, must be a pretty decent amount then in the area.
So then the manholes, and then the mulch, that area around Links Way,
Yes.
that easement. That CDM said would take them quite a while logistically to put together a new contract, so they asked if CC could. Address that directly with Grady to kind of scope out where each property line ends. So they're working on that end, so then they could eventually mulch and seed whatever's appropriate, so. That's in the works.
Yeah, and not, just on that point, I went up there and I forgot to do this, but I had the plan of where their property goes. And, it's about where our easement is. That triangle is all that. In other words, the line, their property goes to our easement.
Okay, so where our easement ends is basically the end of their property
Yeah,
line.
so I had the
Okay.
plan, I went and looked at the plan that they had from before, and it seemed like, so, because it makes sense when you think about it, the lot line of that long strip that we had
Mhm.
was right where the edge of the easement is, and we
Yeah.
were right against the easement. That's why
Okay.
we made that tie right there.
Yeah.
So their land is our easement, the water easement being the gap,
Mhm.
they're under 3 easements, they're over 3 easements.
Oh, wow.
So
So
I
that's-
actually was gonna mark it out. I don't think we need Grady. It's not like we have to have, the grass blades aren't gonna care. It's this part of this. part.
Yeah, a little bit this way and that. Well, if you feel like you got an
Yeah,
accurate,
I think I can do that. And that would,
save that piece from delaying things.
yeah, when I stop. When we stop
Yeah,
talking,
that's fine.
and I'm sure that's what it is.
Okay.
Usually a surveyor will put a PK in the middle of the street,
Okay,
that this is the property line, so that they know that it won't disappear.
okay,
They know it's 20 feet up, 10 feet, the road's 20 feet wide, it's 10 feet over here. And that's it. I didn't find that.
okay. Could be that they didn't want to touch that road.
They won't put nail in it.
They don't, they didn't want to own it.
The crack and keep
Yeah,
going.
and keep going. Yeah. Lots going on, that's for sure. Doesn't seem to slow down.
Anything with the list of stuff that, the new pumps and all that with CDM and the state, now that we made that extension to January, does that deadline go to January?
So, the request was put in by CDM to extend that deadline. I don't know if that was accepted by them or not at this point, so I think CDM's take on it is let's continue rolling forward as if it's not gonna get extended, but also at the same time move towards that target of the extension, because to get our drawings and stuff, you can't really close out a contract without
No.
all your documentation, so my assumption is that things are gonna get stretched out. And I just got last week the estimates for pump replacements. And then the DEP also wanted cut sheets on all those pumps. So I just got those, I think it was on Thursday of last week. So this week, I'm gonna try and wrap all that stuff up and send the DEP what they were looking for documentation. So,
Might be enough, there's enough reason right there. It's still looking
yeah,
at our stuff.
yeah, there's too many moving parts that still aren't closed out on it, so.
If you're gonna be talking to CDM, just on that piece, that's kind of more your area, that just see if that gets to that extent, that could be a big deal. I'd like to
Yeah.
start fighting that. If they're
Yep.
gonna not extend it, why?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 got it. And I'll keep you updated on that end.
Sorry, like, there was like 3 accidents in Braintree,
Really?
one after the other.
Yes.
It's like,
Well, we did the meeting minutes and the abatement for 2 Sunset Road, so you didn't, the one question we had, are you all set?
Yeah.
Dave? Do we have an article on town meeting form? Did we? No? Okay.
There's no article, but to give it. No, the answer's no.
Okay. And just an FYI, I working on all these betterments and everything. I sent an email to Kathleen, yesterday and asked, they checked the betterment account because when the mall was sold last July, typically you have to pay off the lien, which would have been our betterment lien. That would be about approximately 2.2 million. So I asked if there was around 2.2 million in the account, and then just made
1.6.
plus the 1.6. And then I asked, and then I just made an FYI when the Macy's is sold, based on the numbers Jeannie and Dave pulled together, that'll be about another 800,000 paid off.
In a month, we've gone from negative to $5 million plus. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
It doesn't make sense, but.
so I've just asked for confirmation of the roughly 2.2 million.
I'd rather be on this side of the fence than that side.
Right, so then it's a matter of a conversation of, can we utilize that, draw down on that until the tanks are sold? So it's numbers that have to still be worked through, but
Well, you want to jump into the meeting with the selectmen now? Is that-
sure, yeah,
Yes. So, by the way, did you get my phone call? Just,
I mean, I haven't been getting a lot of stuff.
yeah, okay.
I
So-
changed, I have another email address on.
All right, you make sure I can the phone because I backed up here. So based on, before our last meeting, if you remember, I had put together that draft article
yes,
and I then followed up after our meeting Dave and I had with town council, which was only 2.5 weeks ago, on Monday. And we got into the legality of being able to do what we did and what the town did, and they can't do it again. Forget all that for now. So I had followed up before the 8th closing of the warrant with the selectman Crohn's as chair, sent him a note, copied Keith, saying we have this thing problem. This is my draft, our draft warrant article, so we can get this in front of folks. And then, as you recall, we didn't, at our last meeting, we didn't pursue the other option of the warrant because they got back to us saying that they want to meet with us directly. Right after the meeting the selectmen had that night, the next day, Pete called me and tried to set up a meeting either Monday, yesterday,
yeah.
or
Thursday,
tomorrow.
yeah,
the 17th, and couldn't move that together. The selectmen couldn't get together. So now it's the 22nd. And so we're scheduled to meet with them jointly on the 22nd at their meeting, which is a Monday, a Tuesday, or Monday, Thursday. So we're all, our board of theirs.
yeah,
Will be executive session. I have started drafting up an agenda for this, and I explained this is a moving target. Things as the new accountant, financial director,
yeah,
have gotten on board, she has really taken a more interest in this, and it seems to be working very well in us figuring out what's going on. He said that our folks are all working. So the agenda is going to be a living document. I can see it changing. It's what we talked about 2 minutes ago.
yeah,
And just say, okay, we're not a $10 million shortfall now, it's more like a $6 million shortfall, whatever that number is. And how do we manage it? And I want to put on the table all the kinds of things that, first of all, the original town meeting votes that said 1/3, 2/3, that's out there. And here's what we have accounting right now, and we've been working good together. And here's opportunities for paying off that note sooner than later. Such as the discussion we had of that 40B, which is on the sewer line. It's not outside of our original, idea. And we have this option over here. And then Keith had made the idea that, not the idea about the town I want to purchase some capacity for some future project. And I want to put out this South Street. And does the water department, the town want to do anything to protect those wells? So we can come up with a list of prioritizing, a kind of open agenda for prioritizing where are we going to sell betterments first? Who gets the first dibs on for the town's original idea, which is clean up the harbor, clean up the river, clean up shellfish, open up Gracie, all those things. What's best for the town, and have a discussion openly about that, a positive one. And I think we should get there.
and I'd just like to, at some point during that, just to give a little history.
Yeah.
That all of
Yeah,
this
and that
was
was
planned
Yeah.
that we had the revenue to pay for it, had the fourth tank been sold, because if you look at it now, we have 3 tanks operational. And the revenue we're getting from user fees is $1.3 million. So if you had the fourth tank gone, there's another $450,000 in additional revenue without even taking septic into consideration, which now there's no operational shortfall. So it all hinges on that fourth tank.
Yeah, on the operation side, I just wanna make sure we're clear on the
Yes,
capital cost side and the operation side. That would have taken care of the operation, because it would have been consistent with our flow coming in.
exactly.
But we still didn't have, we didn't have, we still have the betterment money, but if we have
Right.
enough so we can pay the 400,000, or whatever the note is every year,
Right,
that's 4 to 5 million now that shows up. That's pretty good. And I adjusted the sheet that I did last week. I adjusted it. I think you all saw that.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay, this shows for the town meeting, the new town, not town meeting, the hearing we're gonna have. Put all those numbers in perspective, so that the betterment will go from 22 to, I think, 26.
for new
But
connections,
new connections.
Right.
Okay, so that's, and I think the range of new connections, it's a moving target.
yeah,
It all depends on the flow and how the plant's going. I don't see II being a problem, as I've said before. So we could have as much as 900 new connections.
right,
And the other thing I really want to stress too, this is, I have all these notes, it's rushing around so much trying to get here. We're an enterprise account. And I want to make sure it's really clear that I don't want to have anyone touching septic money. I don't want to have anyone touching any money that we make as profit. It should be sacrosanct. But this department to do whatever we need to do as we need to, because that's what our job is. We should never be going back to the town for anything unless it's really a big problem,
Right.
something totally weird. But so, I've said this before, I'd like to see by the end of this year, like $700,000 in a bank account. So, and everything else is adding up.
Yeah.
Well, everything else is
Yeah.
working, but that's 700,000. So this guy over here doesn't have to go nuts. If
that's,
he wants to plan something, he can plan it and say, I'm gonna have the money.
well, that's another thing, when before we realized there was a shortfall, we had $1.5 million in unspent article money. So again, we were tracking very well, and then it was boom. But the question on the betterments we need to think about is this betterment amount for tank 4? Because then we're gonna have to have a betterment for the leaching fields.
That's one of the questions. I didn't want to get into that too much detail, but there's some discussion about betterment and I think a lot of this goes away, the betterment for the upgrades really should be shared. They weren't specifically for one particular thing, just like the leaching field, it's for the whole plant. So that argument, I think, is one we have to dash out, cut up a little bit.
Right.
But if these other numbers work fine, and it shows that previous administrations, we were kind of planning for that, which we were.
Yeah,
And so I think we can take some of that off the table, because we have the betterments that are out there will take care of some of those other betterments. And so the betterment that's left is what I'm getting at.
yeah,
The betterment's left, it's not 7 million for the leaching field or 8 million for the engineering side, it's more like 3. And now we're dealing with that number, and with the new betterments, we could probably absorb that. We're not absorbing a giant number, it's not 10 million, it's like
Right.
maybe 2 million over 30 years or 20 years.
yeah,
So when we start now working with numbers that make more sense, it'll be a lot easier.
okay, so I'll keep putting all that together. And when Kathleen gets back to me, I'll send out the emails, and then do we want to have a quick meeting before the 22nd here at like 4:30 and then go to the selectmen at 6?
Probably, yeah.
Okay,
But between now and the end of this week, I'm gonna have this, I have it kind of done, but not what I wanted to send it around with. So if you look at what I did for the hearing part, make sure that's fine, then that could be something that we send out to people. They have it for the hearing, and then this agenda is the latest information we have. Here's the agenda, here's the topics, the history, one of the things, that's kind of what I was saying about the town meeting vote, then the history of the last 20 years, and then here's where we are, here's what the
Yeah.
deficit looks like today,
yeah,
with the finance director and us working together, the numbers are getting much, much better.
Mhm.
Quick aside, I got this this morning, that apparently, my wife brought this up, because I don't do Facebook, but somebody, a very similar thing, but with the schools, having a similar finding. Somebody has been looking at the county and the school budgets, and it's the same kind of thing. I don't know what that means, so I'll let you folks that are on Facebook trace this stuff. But just see if there's any validity to that, because it's interesting, there's a county problem, you think it'd be spread out everywhere.
Yeah.
They're not picking on us, it's like,
Okay,
just,
we'll track that one down.
Yeah, it's good moving towards a little more clarity on where we stand.
Right.
It's, you said, a living situation at this point that's moving day to day, but we're trending in the right direction.
definitely.
And the good thing is with the $1.6 million, the mall seal and Macy's seal, that's all in the same bucket of betterments because it was all the plan expansion.
Oh, we make sure it's in an interest bearing account.
Well, yeah, we're tracking that stuff too. Like, because we used to get
I remember
interest.
my agenda they had in my head.
We used to get interest in it. Anyway, and then what else was it? The town, properties being billed. We used to build them and that fell off the radar.
Yes, and that's something we're gonna be looking at rolling into this next billing cycle.
Yeah,
That would take care, $4 million at 3% or whatever we get. Pay for everything. The enterprise stuff is. Keep going, I'm sorry, I'm just trying. to find-
that's all I really have.
Just trying to find the plan of the,
Anybody else have anything? Jeannie? No?
chicken farms.
No. I'll upload, stuff onto the website tomorrow,
Okay,
and then I'm gonna post some pictures I took of, the guys doing some work. Over at the trolley bus in Prospect Street.
okay. And you're on track for the rate increase, testing, all that.
The public
Check my
hearing,
math and all if you want, on those, I'm pretty sure it's right, but I went to not amortization, but a, interest calculation, and I did it on annual basis, not quarterly. Even quarterly actually gets better. But I did it annual, just so you compare apples and oranges,
Okay,
apples and apples.
the public hearing itself, our discussion in the public hearing is going to be, what, just the quarterly payment?
the quarterly
Just
payment,
adjusting that because of, make it easy for accounting.
right, and the betterment.
The betterment's on there now.
The betterment,
The betterment going to 26,000 is on what I put out. If we want to take it off, we can. do it.
okay, right, no, okay.
But
so
I
those
don't think
two
that's far off.
For that.
We can always change that again, but
And, but the rate that we just went up to for you, usage is gonna stick.
Yes,
That is.
Yeah.
So we have a
Yeah,
public,
okay.
we open up a meeting, we open up the public hearing, we discuss those things. I think the procedure, I said this.
Then we close it.
We close the public hearing
and
to the public, and then as a board, we discuss and vote on whatever we want, that we discussed about.
Yeah.
And then we close it, and then at that point in time, there's no influence or no discussion with the public,
right,
after we close the hearing.
correct.
All right.
And just on the back of, in your packet, there's a copy of the back of the water bill. Stacy said that they control that, so if we want any changes, she would do it. She just needs to know by the mid-November, but
Okay.
I say if we make it by November 1st, just to give her some cushion. There isn't a lot of space on there. I don't know what,
It does have our phone number on there.
yeah, it does.
But where it is on the crease. Then when we
Oh.
remit, it takes it right out when somebody sends it back to you.
So
make it red or something?
we can
It's,
ask.
it's like dead right on when you cut it. Cut that bottom piece off to mail it back, it disappears. I think
Maybe
it's barely readable.
in between new underground sprinkler systems. Like that space, put a sewer department, stuff, whatever. And then put it in red. Just, I'm thinking of it, it's on the crease. Just so that.
Yeah, there would, oh, you know what? It's actually in the middle of, it's in the middle of the piece that you returned.
And then the hours, we should fix those hours, because it says Monday to Friday, 8 to 3:30.
Oh, did she add all that? I don't seem to remember seeing that one part of the bottom. No, that must be, this is a copy of what they have, so.
Yeah,
All right,
so that the good thing is that she controls the back of the bill.
right.
So
So she
that's
can
good.
leave all that and then just put the number up under the.
Yeah, and then we have to do the sewer rate effective up here needs to change to the service charge and per 1,000. So see if we can put that in red and go
I'll
from
ask
there.
Dave, I didn't realize the sewer actually does go up. The houses between Links Way and those houses that are on sewer,
Not Lynx Way.
not Links Way, but the, up, ones, the 3 or 4 houses that are up there on the right-hand side.
Let's see where you're looking at, so.
Shows the sewer going right to there.
I'm just gonna get my
So
bearings.
here's our leaching field. Here's Links Way. And that stretch of road, so the sewer, that's all vacant, most of the vacant land.
Okay, it actually comes up to around here,
Up to around here.
Yeah.
That sewer goes all the way to there.
So you have all, so all those
If-
houses are on sewer?
right up to here.
I can send out a list. I know
Somewhere in
which
that
ones are
area.
connected.
So if you get to that next side street there, Brian, and I'm not sure which one that is, that does not have sewage.
It goes
It's
all the way
about
to
half,
there?
no, it's somewhere about halfway between. Well, we have it marked
That
out.
is something else.
Yeah,
That has to be, the only way I can, that has to be because of this leaching field. CDM did this, to me, it makes sense if I think about it. CDM wanted no septic systems upgrading of our field, because the groundwater moved
oh, I
this way.
see what you're saying,
So if
yeah.
they had a septic system there, it'd screw up our upgrading wells.
Hmm.
The only reason, I
Well,
saw
it's
it the other
It's a
day.
lot of forethought.
So this
Pretty
was done,
impressive.
Don Freeman and me had this on radar screen in 1999. It
Mhm.
was like, Don, we gotta get that.
Mhm.
Because I know there's no way you're gonna find this amount of land.
There was an old map from way back when that it was color coded on which parcels on Country Club Way were eligible for sewer. And then of those parcels, we've been tracking them of what's connected and what hasn't. That might be worth a letter because there are, anybody on septic now, septic is 20 years old anyway. Might be worth a letter to the remaining ones saying, hey,
Well,
If your
if this
system
sewer's
goes
in though,
down, you can tie
if
right in.
these sewers are in, they're already, they must be tied in now. They have to
not,
be.
not all of the Country Club Way properties
I'm just saying
are.
what Dave's saying, the sewer actually exists. They should all be tied in.
I can send out I'll send out the list
That's the
that I
question.
have.
If they're not tied in, they should be, but by law, they should be. By Title
Yeah.
V, you can't.
Yeah, was there a grandfathering in process that allowed?
But all those houses, if those were put in phase 1, most of those houses didn't exist.
Okay.
They weren't there. This was like woods. I can remember going up here. When I used to come up and check this field out, there was nothing here.
Okay.
The road was like not even, it wasn't paved. It was just like dirt. They hadn't even cleared all the trees out, the lots were, so this was all, they put that in, they did it just for that reason. And now it makes sense for this side.
Yep.
Because everything here goes in the brook.
Yeah, does it actually exist in the road?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it just
Yeah,
up
oh,
there?
yeah.
Yeah, they're in the road.
No, in fact, we went up there because I didn't
Well, we
realize
was
it
there.
went up that far. And we popped a couple just to confirm, and sure enough. You know, because I had popped them in.
I'd like to know if that section actually has town water.
Down where
They have
Lynn,
town water too.
Because
Are there some new houses up here? I know, put wells in,
Yeah, they did.
just recently.
yeah, I popped a manhole here and I saw flow. And I'm like, I always thought it just ended at Lynx Way. And when I saw flow coming down Country Club Way, I said, that's a lot of flow for just 2 houses up there. And then I started driving and saw all those mounded manholes.
I'm actually glad of it. I did not realize that. Now, when I looked at this,
I hope we're
plan,
building them.
it stopped there, and now it goes.
I know, I hope-
farther. So
there's a
those-
good amount connected. I just,
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
that's them.
And that's
Well,
something I
that would have
think,
been the developer connecting. it.
Right.
Didn't
Yes.
necessarily have to identify, or, tell us who's doing it.
on Bill's note about hope that being billed, I think as things roll forward here, this is all part of, making sure that we, finish this circle and make sure that all our information is as accurate as
date,
we
right.
want it to be
Right.
and up to date. Because there's been a lot of transition in the office.
Right.
And there certainly could have been there's so many moving parts to everything.
Well, that's it. The analysis that's being done now is going into every street that is sewered and identifying every single parcel on that street.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, I'm looking at a list and seeing some of looks like either, we may not have them all.
Hmm.
Because of different house numbers and stuff like that, but once that exercise is done, then it's to go back and make sure who's being billed and all that stuff, but it's getting the master list for this street, it's sewered, so every parcel should be, if it's a vacant lot, then at least we should be getting a betterment for it.
Or knocking on the door. Tell them to hook up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're paying the
Yeah.
betterment. It's two stuff. You're paying the betterment, you gotta get hooked up. It's even
Yeah,
wasting money.
Well, unless it's a
You're paying
vacant,
for an
And
asset
then the
that
next
you're not
house, there's
using.
no betterment and they're not hooked up. But they shouldn't be, but if they're not, you should knock on their door and say, you got 2 years.
the expectation is if it's not, if it's paying a betterment and not a vacant lot, they should be hooked up.
Yeah.
That's the expectation. The only ones that shouldn't, that may not be hooked up are vacant lots, because there's no usage.
I just wanna make sure everybody had a copy. I think Gene, I sent this, it's proposed and I changed it and I have the betterment proposed on this, the last one. Did I give you that?
I believe so.
Okay, because then this is the one I think is the working one for the meeting.
Okay,
And if I want to change it, we get a couple weeks now, right? The hearings.
so the hearing's the 29th.
The
No, let's see
29th.
that real quick.
Yeah. The selectmen's the 22nd. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That should be final, and then these adjust all the, the interest rates over time, the interest. 2.8%. 3.3%, it's the sewer rate and the fee combined over 15 years. So that 15 full years represents 3.3% on a yearly basis.
Okay.
Not other way.
Well, someone did ask me, why didn't we raise the rate sooner? And I said, well, one, we're a nonprofit. I said, second, we had every expectation of once the 4 tanks were operational, then we knew we had to revisit the rates. But to do that prematurely didn't really make a lot of sense at the time. But because the 4th tank isn't operational, we have to act.
For the 22nd.
And the ratepayers are on the hook for paying for a lot of upgrades because the plant's been online for 20 years or so. And those things had to be done.
Right.
And the ratepayers, the users, are the ones that are using the equipment 20 years, they're obligated to pay a percentage of that. And third and fourth tank will be paid for
Right,
by the new people that hook up.
right.
And at that point in time, everything should level out and
Exactly.
figure out how much we're making and where it's coming and things get paid off.
The hearing on the 20th, is it what time? October 29th.
What time is that? 6:30? The 29th,
6, I think.
is it 6?
I'll send the notice.
Okay,
We had a regular meeting. I had it, yeah. So I try to do it.
that's all I have.
Good, Brian, you want anything else to add anything?
Nope, I'm not set.
We'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.